Coming up on the Q30 Newscast, the flu clinics are running short of flu vaccines than in previous years. Those who have not gotten it yet may be at risk.
And unwanted visitors are making their way into the food in the cafeteria. Students are reporting that bugs are in their food.
And will students vote this election season? All this and more right now on the Q30 Newscast.
Live from the Student Center Piazza, this is the Q30 Newscast.
Good evening and welcome to the Q30 Newscast. I'm Kate Pattyfoot.
And I'm Carrie Golden. First tonight, if you were planning on getting a free flu shot on campus tomorrow, those plans may have to change. Sarah Russell has the story.
Flu season began this month, and as in years past, Quinnipiac held flu shot clinics on the Mount Carmel, York Hill, and North Haven campuses. This year, though, students and faculty have almost exhausted all vaccines.
Typically, there's 3,000 vaccines ordered. Last year, we had about 200 left over. This year, right now, we're less than 200, and tomorrow is supposed to be our last day.
And for those who have waited until the last day, many are thinking of looking elsewhere for their flu shot.
I'm probably just going to go to CVS, like the Minute Clinic, because at this point, probably not even going to try to go to there tomorrow, but if I happen to pass by and they still have them, I'll definitely get it tomorrow.
Nurses are urging those who are still looking to come get their shot as soon as possible.
To get it as soon as possible would be the recommendation because once supplies are depleted, we can't offer a clinic.
The North Haven campus was the first to get the opportunity for a flu shot, but some on the Mount Carmel campus believe they should get the opportunity earlier due to how closely students on the campus live to one another.
I think that number-wise, it's smart to start here because there are so many students and there's so much interaction.
Some students feel because they get their health care through the school, their flu shot should be guaranteed. But others just feel grateful that the school offers the shot.
Everyone should definitely be entitled to a flu vaccine, and it's not good that they're running out because we pretty much get free health care here, so everyone should be able to get one if they want to.
Yeah, I guess it could be more warning to tell people oh yeah, we're running out, so try to go in as quickly as possible. But also, I feel like it's not they're generous or giving us free in either way, so I feel like it's a great opportunity.
Quinnipiac will continue to offer flu shots while supplies last, but as of now, you may want to start looking elsewhere. Sarah Russell, Q30 News.
Quinnipiac alum Victoria Kozar graduated in 2017 from the School of Health Sciences. She spent a year living at Moniston Care in Wallingford, Connecticut. Moniston Care is an assisted living community. The Steve Harvey Show aired today to talk to Kozar on her past college roommate. Harvey focused on the intergenerational relationship Kozar formed while living at Moniston Care. Q30 talked to Kozar about her experience on the Steve Harvey Show.
It was less about the living experience and more about the intergenerational relationships that came from that. I want other students to know that you don't have to live in a community like that to foster these friendships.
Recently, Quinnipiac students have been finding bugs in their food. How have other students reacted, and what's QU Dining's response? Callie Keys has the story.
This past week, QU Barstool posted a video on Instagram from a student who found a small snail in their package of blackberries, as well as a picture of a worm in a piece of watermelon. This is not the first time bugs have been found in food from the CAF, but these pictures have made many students hesitant to eat CAF food, especially the fresh fruit.
I don't want to smell my blackberries. It was disgusting. Kind of disgusted. A little weirded out because I usually just eat the fruit in the CAF.
In a statement to Q30 News, Chuck Couture, resident district manager of Quinnipiac Dining, said, quote, "The health and safety of our guests are always our top priority. That's why we immediately took action after we were made aware of 2 images that were posted to the @QU Barstool Instagram page. Although we cannot verify that the images are from our dining facilities, we pull the products in question from service and launch an investigation with our third-party food safety specialists. QU Dining reached out to the distributors of the fruit where bugs were found. Driscoll's acknowledged the small snail that was found inside a Driscoll's berry package and assured QU Dining that added attention will be given to prevent future incidents. Ghirardelli Produce and Dairy Company said in a letter to Driscoll's they had seen the picture and it appears that a bug may have burrowed its way out of the watermelon over time. They said this wouldn't have been seen by someone processing, but they will also be monitoring the situation. Bugs are not the only thing students have found in their cat food recently. Molly Kotska found a chewed piece of gum in her breakfast food just last week.
I brought it back to where I got my eggs from, and they told me that it was American cheese. And I said that it wasn't American cheese. I was like, this is gum. And she didn't believe me, and then she pulled it out and she's like, oh my gosh, it actually is gum. And that was it. They made me a new meal.
203-229-9133 is the text to solve number that Quinnipiac Dining is encouraging students to send feedback to. You can text it, you can email quinnipiacdining@qu.edu, or you can contact a manager or an associate directly with any food concerns you may have. Quinnipiac Dining is also committed to refunding the count of any students who find issues with their food. In the upper calf for Q30 News, Callie Keys.
This past Monday, students had the chance to meet potential employers at the annual career fair. The career fair was from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. in BurtCon. Companies from Michael Kors, People's United Bank, and Travelers, and more were in attendance. All students were encouraged to bring their updated resumes, network with recruiters, and inquire about potential internships and job opportunities.
This evening, the Fulbright program held an information session in the Student Center for students who are looking for grants, scholarships, and teaching assistantship abroad. The program fully funds post-baccalaureate study, research, or teaching for recent college graduates. Applications will open to apply in April or May 2019. Students in any major who will graduate this year, next year, and all grad students are eligible to apply. On Tuesday, the university hosted the Political Communication Brown Bag event. This year's topic was the Year of the Women 2.0, female candidate in the 2018 midterm elections. The women on the panel were Susan Bizowicz, Pearl Kim, Patricia Russo, and Jennifer Sacco. The panelists discussed the opportunities and challenges facing women that are seeking position in political office.
This Thursday, 6 employees will be recognized as recipients of the 2018 Center for Excellence Award. This year's honorees in teaching are Lynn Byers, Professor of Mechanical Engineering, Scott McLean, Professor of Political Science, and Robert Yawson, Assistant Professor of Management. Ray Charlie Jr., Public Safety Officer, Lauren Arati, Director of Academic and Technology, and Rhonda Colbin, Public Services Librarian, will be receiving the Service to Students Awards.
Tomorrow, the Ireland Great Hunger Museum will be hosting Contemporary War Journalism, a presentation by Tim Malloy. Malloy is an analyst for the Quinnipiac Poll and a documentary filmmaker. He just made a film describing 14 embeds with the Army in Iraq and Afghanistan. The film, titled Send Me, is currently playing on PBS TV stations. The event is $5 for the general public and free for Quinnipiac students. Registration is required.
The International Business Society will be hosting a dinner on October 22nd to connect students to different cultures. The entrance fee will be $5, and the money raised from this event is donated to the Integrated Refugee and Immigrant Services. Q30 News spoke to IB Society President Rajama Mutasim about this upcoming event.
Basically, all the proceeds from this dinner goes to IRIS, which is Integrated Refugees and Immigrant Services. So that's basically helping people from refugees from different countries to establish in Connecticut, and that spreads awareness because they are from a different country and they're trying to settle here with their new families, and this dinner really helps them be more comfortable in Connecticut.
The Latino Cultural Society hosted its annual Copacabana night in BurtCon tonight. The night featured a live Hispanic band with a DJ and all-you-can-eat buffet. The event also had a salsa instructor that taught anyone willing to learn how to salsa dance. The event was free and was held to celebrate Latino Heritage Month. On Friday, the Black Student Union will be hosting an Art Fest. The Art Fest is being held in support of Domestic Violence Awareness Month. The event will be held from 4:30 to 7 p.m. The event will have panelists as well as self-defense classes offered to any students who attend the event.
This past Sunday, sorority Alpha Chi Omega had their 20th annual Frisbee Fest on the Quad in support of domestic violence victims. Frisbee Fest is an ultimate Frisbee tournament, and attendees were also able to pie a member of the sorority and browse a collection of clothing items. This year, they were able to raise $18,500 for the cause. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. According to the calendar, winter is still over a month away.
But these cold temperatures are making us think otherwise. John McMahon is here to give us a little look into his weather forecast. John?
Thanks, guys. Well, it's finally starting to feel like fall, believe it or not. Today, a little bit of clouds, a high of 62, a low of 35. And tomorrow and Friday, there will be sun, but don't be fooled. There's a high of 47, a low of 34 on Thursday, and a high of 59 and a low of 50 on Friday. Stick around for my complete weather forecast a little bit later on, and stick around right after this quick break.
If you like debate, that's a converted relief pitcher making the start because it was a doubleheader. You got no hit by a relief pitcher. You can't tell me that's not embarrassing.
Analysis.
You can see his stance, his positioning right there is excellent.
And a side of entertainment.
Is he right or is he crazy?
Well, we all know the answer to that. He's a bit crazy, but I gotta say, you know.
Then join us on Bobcat Breakdown.
From the court to the ice to here on the diamond, we'll discuss everything you need to know about Quinnipiac athletics.
Bobcat Breakdown, Tuesdays at 9:30.
Welcome to the WQAQ Morning Show. Dan Ball and Emma Spagnolo joining you here from the QAQ studios in Hamden. And Emma, it is that time of year again.
Whether you're on the quad in your room or off campus, tune in to Q30 News for stories from student journalists you can trust.
We're covering the latest here on campus and in the surrounding communities.
Get the news you need to know every Wednesday night.
From Hamden to Hollywood, we are your source for entertainment news.
As election season grows closer, the push continues to get young voters to the poll. Q30's Sarah Russell has more.
As the midterm elections quickly approach, many wonder what voter turnout will look like. Associate Professor of Graphic and Interactive Design at Quinnipiac University, Courtney Marchese, says voter likelihood is high, but no one can be sure what voter turnout will be like until Election Day.
Voter enthusiasm is very high right now, and what is expressed as voter likelihood is also very high, but in the past those numbers have not translated to people who actually show up at the polls, so it's hard to rely on online discussion. It's hard to rely on data. You really just have to rely on yourself to get out there and vote.
In the 2016 election, less than 50% of voters ages 18 to 24 showed up to the polls. This number was even smaller for the 2014 midterm elections.
In 2014, which is the last midterm congressional election that we had, nationally, only 18 or 19% of youth voted.
The reason for this may be that 18 to 24-year-olds just aren't used to having to go out and vote, and they aren't compelled by their civic obligation.
Larger number of 18 to 24-year-olds don't feel that voting is a civic obligation. They feel that voting is something you do if you feel like it, or if there's a candidate you can fall in love with, or there's some clear issue that you believe will really affect you directly and immediately.
Professor Marchese urges students to find a topic in politics they can become passionate about and focus on educating themselves and making change in that topic.
You have to start somewhere, so if you start with one topic, that's fine.
If you are registered to vote through your school address, Quinnipiac will be offering shuttles to and from polling sites on Election Day. Sarah Russell, Q30 News.
The Bobcat community is invited to a luncheon and discussion on polling in the midterm election. Director of the Quinnipiac poll, Doug Schwartz, and the poll's national spokesman, Tim Mallory, will give a behind-the-scenes look at the Quinnipiac poll and what we can learn from the polling data and issues that matter most to voters. The discussion will take place from 1 to 2 on Friday at the Polling Institute. Do you think your vote matters? Quinnipiac students are invited to discuss their opinions this coming Monday. Sophia, the Quinnipiac Student Philosophy Organization, is hosting a Socrates Cafe where this question will be discussed. The event is open to all who want to have a conversation on whether their vote counts as we near the midterm elections. The conversation will take place in Buckman Theater from 6:45 until 8:15.
Quinnipiac is joining a number of other colleges in allowing students to self-report their SAT scores. Gregory Eichhorn, the vice president for admissions, said, quote, "The change will speed up the application process and allow students to apply to multiple schools without worrying about having to pay fees to have their scores sent to more than just a few schools," end quote. Hopefully with this change, we will see an increase in applications.
If you have been to Starbucks recently, you probably noticed that there are no longer any straws at the coffee shop. Starbucks is going completely strawless. All drinks are served with a new lid called the strawless lid. The idea is that without the straws, Starbucks is in turn saving the environment from the plastic. In another attempt to help reduce the amount of plastic used, they encourage people to bring their own tumblers.
This weekend, our student programming board has a weekend full of free foods. They tweeted, quote, "This weekend and this weekend only, you can save your meal plan and come eat all the free food your heart desires," end quote. To kickstart the weekend, on Friday, they will have Nug Night. Over 4,000 chicken nuggets will be served in the Piazza at 10 p.m. On Saturday, food from Eli's, Ray and Mike's, Insomnia Cookies, and Panera Bread will be served in the lower calf at 10 p.m. And on Sunday, well, with all that food eaten in the past 2 days, SPB's hope is that students will want to sleep it off. Make sure to get there early as the lines are expected to be long.
The Quinnipiac Student Athlete Advisory Committee is set to host the 3rd annual Boomers Boo Bash this Saturday. Families and children ages 3 to 11 are encouraged to spend their afternoon trick-or-treating with Quinnipiac student athletes. There will also be prizes, games, a costume contest, and of course, photo opportunities with Boomer the Bobcat. The event will start at 10 a.m. and run until noon on the Mount Carmel campus.
2 weeks ago on October 6, Quinnipiac Athletics honored the life of Michael John Rudominski, who graduated in 2010. They hosted a ceremony during the men's soccer game versus Manhattan, which was played here at Quinnipiac. The ceremony took place during halftime and included a press box dedication for Rudominski, who passed away in 2017. He was just 29 years old. Rudominski was heavily involved in student media while here at Quinnipiac. He was the first student broadcaster to travel with an athletic program. He served as the Bobcats' official play-by-play announcer for all home and away games. His family and former Quinnipiac baseball head coach Dan Gooley were on the field during the ceremony. The name for the press box, #RockThePlanet, became a way of life for Rudominski. It originated from his high school graduation, where he told his classmates to go out and, quote, rock the planet, end quote. Q30 News talked to Nick Caesar Druminski about the legacy Rudominski left at Quinnipiac.
With Mike being a former student broadcaster, knowing that every student journalist that goes in for a soccer or lacrosse game is going to walk in there, see the plaque, see a little bit about what he did and what he meant to the school and to the department.
#that producer Matt Fortin is making his newscast debut tonight.
He's here to fill us in on all things local news. Matt, what's going on around Hamden?
Thanks for having me, guys. A lot going on this week around Hamden, so let's get started. Tonight, officials still trying to figure out what happened when a Connecticut plane crashed off the coast of Long Island. The accident left 3 people dead, including 2 Connecticut locals, a Waterbury-based flight instructor, and a Danbury divorce lawyer. The plane took off in Waterbury Saturday morning before landing in Danbury, once again heading for Charleston, South Carolina. Witnesses reported seeing the plane crash at around 11 on Saturday morning, and that was just 3 miles off the coast of the Hamptons. At this point, it is still unclear what led up to that deadly accident. Yale PD investigating reports of a possible drink tampering at an on-campus party. 2 women were taken to Yale New Haven Hospital on Friday night after attending a party in Durfee Hall. One of them tested positive for a strong sedative, commonly referred to as the date rape drug roofie. The host of the party, who is asking to stay anonymous, says that at least 2 others were drugged, including himself. Yale police have not yet identified any suspects, and this, of course, just weeks after one Yale alum accused Brett Kavanaugh of sexual assault on the Ivy League's New Haven campus. And over to the Hamden Fire Department, a new acting chief is now in charge. Gary Merweed was sworn in on Friday following the retirement of Chief Baradeska, a couple of weeks ago. Chief Baradeska did work part-time until Friday, though. According to Mayor Lang, Merweed will also serve as the director of the Office of Emergency Management. Hamden's latest chief has worked for the fire department since 1994, and in the past 4 years has served as deputy fire chief. He said in a statement on Friday he looks forward to working with our officers, firefighters, and staff in this new capacity. And that's all I have for this week's local news. Thanks for having me, guys, and back to you at the desk.
Coming up, John McMahon will give us his full weather forecast for the week. And winter sports are now underway. And Mike Dalton is here to tell us all things sports when we come back.
Hello, and tonight on Sandwich News, we will determine what makes a good sandwich and a bad sandwich. First, the standard sandwich. Uninspired, and frankly, a little gross. But we have here a Ray and Mike sandwich, the Cadillac of sandwiches. And if you want one, well,
come on down to Ray and Mike's at 3030 Whitney Ave, Hamden, Connecticut. Open every day from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Q-Cash is accepted.
now that's a sandwich.
If you like debate,
That's a converted relief pitcher making the start because it was a doubleheader. You got no hit by a relief pitcher. You can't tell me that's not embarrassing.
analysis,
You can see his stance, his positioning right there is excellent.
and a side of entertainment.
Is he right or is he crazy?
Well, we all know the answer to that. He's a bit crazy, but I gotta say, you know.
Then join us on Bobcat Breakdown.
From the court to the ice to here on the diamond, we'll discuss everything you need to know about Quinnipiac athletics.
Bobcat Breakdown, Tuesdays at 9:30.
From Hamden to Hollywood, we are your source for entertainment news.
Whether you're on the quad in your room or off campus, tune in to Q30 News for stories from student journalists you can trust.
We're covering the latest here on campus and in the surrounding communities.
Get the news you need to know every Wednesday night.
This fall weather has certainly not been the warmest.
But the question is, will there be any warm fall weather? John McMahon joins us now for his full weather forecast. John?
Thanks, guys. Well, as the leaves begin to change, so do the temps. Taking a look into Connecticut tonight, it's a 45 degrees in Torrington, 48 in Danbury. Definitely a little chillier than we like. 50 degrees in Hartford and Norwich. New Haven in 52 and New London 52. So if you're by the water, you're getting a little more of a warm breeze. Moving right into the 7-day forecast. Obviously today, 62, high of 62, low of 35, a little bit of clouds. Not too bad. Thursday and Friday, there is some sun, but like I said, don't be fooled, guys. It's a high of 47 tomorrow and a low of 34. And a high of 59 and a low of 50. Right on to Saturday, there's partly cloudy, a high of 60 and a low of 40, a little bit of Indian summer, if you know what I mean. Sunday, sun, but don't be fooled again, like I said, there's a high of 48 and a low of 33. And Monday, we have partly cloudy, high of 51, low of 40, and 50. And then Tuesday is a high of 56 and a low of 37. That's all I have for my full weather update. Back to you guys at the desk.
Hurricane Michael causes the death toll to rise to 19 and leaving the rest of the state of Florida in ruins.
And a large department store files for bankruptcy. Kirby Polson gives us this week's national news update. Kirby?
Thanks, guys.
Hurricane Michael made landfall last Wednesday in the Florida Panhandle, leaving widespread destruction across multiple states, including at least 19 deaths in its wake. President Trump visited Florida and Georgia on Monday and described the damage, saying, quote, "I've seen pictures, but it's hard to believe. When you're above it in a plane, and to see the total devastation, to see no houses left, not even the pads are left, it's incredible," end quote. On Monday, the Tampa Bay Times reported via the Florida Office of Insurance Regulation that 38,000 damage claims have been submitted and $5.7 million have been paid out thus far. On another note, Sears Holdings has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Holdings, the parent company of Kmart as well, announced in a release Monday that 142 stores will be closing at the end of the year, which is on top of the 46 announced closings that are expected to be done by November of this year. Chairman Edward Lampert, who has stepped down from his original position as chief executive officer, said, quote, "As we look toward the holiday season, Sears and Kmart stores remain open for our business, and our dedicated associates look forward to serving our members and customers. We thank our vendors for their continuing support through the upcoming season and beyond. We also thank our associates for their hard work and commitment to providing millions of Americans with value and convenience," end quote. Voters in Colorado will be casting their ballots next month to elect more than just their slew of next representatives. Amendment A is on the ballot and would essentially abolish slavery as a form of punishment. The section of the state constitution currently reads, "Shall never be in this state either slavery or involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime, whereof the party has been duly convicted." A successful vote would change it to a clear, "There shall never be in this state either slavery or involuntary servitude." According to CNN, over 15 other states allow slavery as a punishment for a crime, as does the United States Constitution. That's all for this week's national news. Carrie Kay, back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Kirby. Quinnipiac men's ice hockey had their first home game last night. Mike Dalton is here with a sneak preview of the results and all things sports. Mike?
Thanks, ladies. Coming up on sports, men's soccer looked to get back to its winning ways this afternoon against Ryder. Men's ice hockey's home opener was last night as they hosted the Yukon Huskies. We'll see which animal runs Connecticut and the latest on the volleyball team. All this after the break.
If you like debate,
That's a converted relief pitcher making the start because it was a doubleheader. You got no hit by a relief pitcher. You can't tell me that's not embarrassing.
analysis,
You can see his stance, his positioning right there is excellent.
and a side of entertainment.
Is he right or is he crazy?
Well, we all know the answer to that. He's a bit crazy, but I gotta say, you know.
Then join us on Bobcat Breakdown.
From the court to the ice to here on the diamond, we'll discuss everything you need to know about Quinnipiac athletics.
Bobcat Breakdown, Tuesdays at 9:30.
Welcome to the WQAQ Morning Show. Dan Ball and Emma Spagnolo joining you here from the QAQ studios in Hamden. And Emma, it is that time of year again.
Whether you're on the quad in your room
Or off campus.
tune in to Q30 News for stories from student journalists you can trust.
We're covering the latest here on campus and in the surrounding communities.
Get the news you need to know every Wednesday night.
From Hamden to Hollywood, we are your source for entertainment news.
The men's soccer team hosted the Ryder Broncs today at 2. Previously, the Bobcats were coming off a 1-0 loss to Iona this past Saturday. The Broncs drew first blood in the middle of the second half. The Bobcats responded 23 minutes later on an Eamon Whalen goal. Then, with 26 seconds left in regulation, Whalen struck again, and the Cardiac Cats stole a match from the Broncs, winning 2-1. Whalen's 2 goals today give him a conference-leading 10 goals, for the season. The Bobcats will travel to Fairfield to face the Stags on Saturday. The men's ice hockey team had their home opener last night against in-state rival UConn. The Huskies, it was an all Bobcats in the first period. Up 1-0 already, Wyatt Bongiovanni shoots and Odin Tufto gets the rebound, and the Bobcats extend their lead to 2. That is Tufto's second goal on the year already. Now in the middle of the second period, 2-on-1, Wayland to Fallstrom, the freshman, and he roofs it past the UConn goaltender. This would put the Bobcats up 3-1. The Bobcats would win 4-2. They improve to 2-0. Fallstrom led the way with 2 goals. Brandon Fortunato scored as well. The volleyball team played the last-place Siena Saints this evening. The Bobcats were looking to end a 5-match losing streak, and the Bobcats did just that. The Bobcats swept Siena in 3 games to take the match. Kat Miller led the offense with 18 kills, while Morgan Sherwin had 14 of her own. Gabby Horman had 3 blocks to anchor the defense, and Maria Pansari added on to her 3,000 career assists with 36 against the Saints. And that's all.
Carrie, if you thought your family traveled far this weekend, I think one parent has them beat. The dad of freshman Jesse Bowers traveled all the way from San Diego, California to Quinnipiac on his motorcycle.
Now, that is dedication, Kay. Q30 News caught up with Bowers to talk about how he felt his dad's trip here.
That's all we have for tonight on Q30's News. Be sure to follow us on social media at Q30 News to stay up to date on all things and you'll need to know going around campus.
From all of us here behind the scenes, thank you and good night.